We want now to look at what really is happening with the Youth Fund and the 10 million shilling scandal, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. And we have on set the CEO, the chairperson of the Youth Fund, Ronnie Osumba, as well as David Nduati, who's the president of the Youth Nation. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for making time for us. But first, I want us to listen to some of the grievances from the young people who made way to the Youth Fund offices in Nairobi yesterday.
The president has been talking about empowering the young people, and it has been a statement that is not taken seriously.
And yet, people are here masquerading as youth leaders, squandering the money that is meant to develop and to empower our youths.
All right, those are some of the sentiments from the young people who made way to the offices of Youth Fund yesterday. They met with the chairperson of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, Ronnie Osumba, who's with us in studio now. I would like to begin with you. Once again, thank you for joining us here for this conversation. I mean, these were serious concerns being raised by young people. Your agency, so to speak, has been on the headlines for a while now. What is the status currently?
Thank you for having us, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to set the record straight. First and foremost, let me say we are open to accountability. We are open to be held to account, and therefore our door is open. And this is precisely the opportunity that the young men and women took yesterday to just come and, demand. The approach could have been better. And obviously now we also know that, these were basically not representative of young voices. There were people who were sent to just cause a fracas. That said, we have been open with the current issue happening at the Youth Fund. In February, while we were, and probably let me take a step back, when we got into the fund 2 years ago when I was appointed, we found the fund in a mess. We all know the story of money leaking from Youth Fund like from a bucket. 180 million in 1 year, 320 million the year before that, 220 million for the hatcheries project. It was leaking. What we have done is to put in place measures, reformed the entire institution from people. We have put in policies and processes. We have instituted new systems. And it is actually these reforms that flagged out some areas that were still a bit grey.
What are these reforms?
Why? There are many. So we have moved from a manual processing system to a digital system. It is actually the migration of data from the old to the new that flagged out this current issue that we are talking about. We have relooked at the entire organization. We have done a new org structure to ensure that we only retain the best, and the best are in the right jobs. So we've done staff competence tests, we've done staff audits, we've reduced our staff from 400 to 220. Why? Because we want a leaner and more efficient organization. We have established policies. You'll be shocked that when we got to the Youth Fund, there were no policies about anything. So whether it is human resource policies, lending policies, finance policies, we've put all these things in place just to ensure that the checks and balances are there. We have addressed the issues of governance. There's no more noise in terms of who controls the Youth Fund. Is it the management or is it the board? We have clear lines of duties, and we are respecting that. So when these issues came up, out of this reform, and this reform has had many benefits, by the way. For example, when we got there, we were lending less than 20 million shillings to youth per month. Today, as I speak, we are lending 100 million per month, okay? The organization is more transparent. You can walk in, you can query, you can meet the CEO, you can meet the chair. So it is a more transparent organization. This was flagged out, because I'm sure this is what everybody wants to hear.
So what you're saying is your team has been cleaning up the mess.
We've been doing the job that we were sent to do, which is to clean up, to fish out those people within the system who, had gotten into this culture of looting and grabbing, all right? And it has been a very progressive process. We have weeded out the bad chaff. Today, I can confidently tell you, I have 99.9% good staff. Their morale is back up. Okay, when we got to the fund, they were not even putting on their their youth fund logo, branded shirts.
Okay.
Why? Because they were ashamed to be associated. Today, they are happy to work there. They are proud to work there because of all the reforms that we have put in.
You, as a young person, this particular development fund is specifically for young people. Do you feel disenfranchised from some of the comments that we got from those who are meeting the chairman yesterday?
Well, first of all, it's good also. We appreciate the fact that, yes, there are legitimate concerns, but I would appreciate a more diplomatic way of engaging, and especially for us as youth, because chairman is representing a very serious office, and when you disrespect the office, you know, like what happened, sometimes brings out the whole idea of your complaint. You know, but all said and done, the concerns are legit. I think I can applaud the chairman for two or three things. He's done his best. We have seen, and most of the time when we find things are not right, I follow him, he follows me. I usually just ask him, Chairman, confirm this, and he's very fast. But there's one thing that has left out the young person, and I'm not talking about the urban setup. Because the urban setup, you can access information. You can see the guys who came to the office, they must have come from, you know, from the city. But there is a concern because of...
They were mobilized from the city.
Exactly, there's mobilization. Now,
we are yet to confirm
my concern is the mashinani person, the mashinani young person, the young person who does not even know where Nairobi is, okay? I'm so concerned about that young person who does not know about the existence of such a fund, you know? So there is a lot that needs to be done because the fund is there, and Chair has been doing a lot. But it will be best for us to look at solutions as opposed to the problems, because we know the problem. The first problem was accessing the fund through the manual setup was a big mess. Because sometimes you'll be told, go collect this form here, go collect that.
Your file is lost.
The file is lost. Sometimes there were cases of even a check being written wrong spelling, so that you are handed over. When you take to the bank, no, you have to take it back. So there were those kind of cases, and they were very, very bad cases, because when you take back the check, the officer, the credit officer will say, okay, but he has done a good job, because sometimes it is hard to know when you are at the point of a place of responsibility, you cannot account for everyone. But the solution towards what has been done is to now rebuild a more technological module for the youth fund, a way that you don't necessarily need to meet the credit officer. And I am for the idea of having the disbursements in a structured way, okay? Be dispensed through a mechanism like, for instance, M-Shwari or KCB M-Pesa, because this fund is there to help the young people. Now, what we should be looking at is how do we enact or impact the youth in that kind of a module. We'll have to know. We have to audit to know what does this youth do. And we are in agreement. Not all youths are enterprising. Not everyone is a business person.
Not everyone is born an
exactly. So we have to look at a way of a criteria where we can know if this person is making an application for agribusiness. Is he in business? Is he conversant with agriculture? If he's an entrepreneur, is he into supplies? You know, let us not have a blanket kind of way of engagement. We have to relook at engaging in a way that is more systematic and more direct.
All right.
Yes.
Mr. Osumba, there have been calls for you and your CEO to step aside and just give room for investigations that are currently ongoing at the Youth Fund to take place. Kindly respond to that here.
I step aside for doing my job. This is precisely why I was sent there, to clean house. We are cleaning house. Let me give you this particular case and the processes that have been taken. In February, when we are doing the data migration from the old system to the new system, a red flag is raised that there are some discrepancies in some group loans, that some groups have received a second loan, even a third, before they finished cleaning up, before they finished paying up for the first. That in itself was a red flag. The CEO immediately calls me. I was in a function in Mombasa, and we say, let's call for a board meeting. Immediately we call for a board meeting, and we institute a special audit. And we say, let's have a special audit. The special audit, and I have all the communication here with all the board resolutions. The special audit comes back to us, and the special audit says, oi, we have a problem with group loans. In this particular 4 groups, we have found a repetitive pattern of money being disbursed and repetitive pattern of the exact same officers. All right? Immediately what we do, we take the internal audit, the special audit, we sit as a board, and we make a declaration. And the board resolutions are here for you to see, okay? We can share this with you. And the board makes very determined decisions. 1, suspend the affected officers. 2, invite DCI to investigate if there is complicity. 3, invite National Treasury to do a full audit, not just of the group loans, but of all our loans. Okay, those 2 are still ongoing. 3, to reshuffle the staff in the affected departments. That is audit, that is finance and credit.
Has that happened?
That has happened. All these things that we put for ourselves to do, we have done without fail. We gave Treasury and DCI 90 days. This is in a letter, and we have the letters here. Letters copied, written to DCI, letters written to Treasury. All of this dated around 6th, 5th, 7th, and 9th. All right? Inviting all these people. This is about the same time the board had sat. And we gave them 90 days. 90 days ends on June 5th, at least that week. DCI have already indicated they might be a little late with their report. Obviously, they are now a bit overwhelmed with the NYS issue. Treasury has indicated they might actually be early. We might actually have it by the end of this week. So we have followed due process. We have invited the 5 officers, junior officers, for disciplinary. Okay. They've already come, they've gone through a disciplinary committee. We are awaiting the outcome of the investigations. The senior officers, we have determined, because of their job group level, that their disciplinary will be held, depending on their culpability, on the and based on the outcome.
Do you think all this is enough going forward, even after this 10 million shillings scandal? And of course, I believe this is from the internal audit of 2016 to 2017 financial year.
No, this is a special audit that we institute, and this is where sometimes, you know, I think we need to get the information right. This is a special audit that the board instituted in February of this year. Okay? The audit report was considered by the board on March 3rd or 4th, thereabouts. On 5th, we started implementing the board resolutions.
Do you think all this is enough? Will this be enough to clean up the youth fund as we wind up?
In my view, it is a holistic approach, a culture change, investing in systems and processes, investing in the right people. And that we have done. This is the one incident that has slipped through the cracks in the 2 years that we have been in office. Okay. But I can guarantee you, integrity is the top of our agenda. That is the mission we were sent there to accomplish. We shall accomplish that mission.
All right, Duarte, as we wind up.
Yes. Well, there are a lot of things. And around this time, with the youth fund and also with NYS, mine is just to make one point straight. Whenever anybody gets to oppress the youth, he's oppressing the future of this country.
Oppressing the nation.
And that is where now the young people, you know, will not sit down and say, see people driving Gazlas and all that. Will not. And I think I want to appreciate what the president is doing. You know, if you're found culpable, carry you across. You know, it's very unfortunate that young people are wailing in unemployment. Young people are wailing in, you know, in the streets and in jobless corner. And these guys are graduates. They are people who can do a lot. Okay. I have a situation of a graduate in a prison, you know. Now, when you ask what kind of crime, they are petty issues. But it is all about the youth empowerment. Okay. So when we look at the empowerment, youth empowerment in Kenya, we have to now narrow down to be specific. It is the youth economic empowerment agenda. Okay. And that is what I would like the CEO to do, the chairman to do.
All right. Thank you very much. I wish we had more time. David Duarte, the president of the Youth Nation, Ronnie Osumba, the chairman of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in. We're taking a quick break. Robinson Okenya will be coming in next in Sports News, so don't go too far. This is KTN News Desk.
This is KTN News.